You're watching the Tesla Life live with your host, Mark Coughlin.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Tesla Life number 394, the 15th of January, 2025. A new year, and we're a couple weeks in already.
Oh, yes.
Yes, indeed. And that, of course, is our friend, Mr. Casey Green, joining us from the Mid-Atlantic. How are you today, sir?
Doing pretty well. How are y'all doing?
Excellent.
So what I've learned in my quests to get monetized on Twitter, it's very similar to or on X. It's very similar to the quest to get monetized on YouTube. Mark knows all about that. Don't talk to the lepers. The people down below where it says these might be spam and they're talking all this trash about EVs, don't touch it. Let them say their stuff. I got a little smack on the progress from that, so I went back and deleted a bunch of comments, and it seems to be on the mend now. But
That's
you don't mind.
That's weird. So, I mean, I totally agree that there are haters and engaging with them is pointless and a waste of your time. But I don't understand why it would lower your engagement numbers. That's weird.
Because if you have a long conversation with them, it looks like you are one of them for some reason. So if you can, I guess if you're not in that game, then maybe do one hit and leave. But it's
Better just stay away from it all in the first place.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. But on that same note about X, I went ahead and Mark posted it. I put an article up on my X right there, G Custom, about EV taxes. A lot of the states have various schemes that they've already got. Some of them double dip you, and an incoming politician administrator is talking about taxing EVs for our fair share. And I'm like, whoa, hold up, MFR.
Yeah, I have no problem paying my fair share.
Right,
it's just what they think the fair share is the equivalent to something that gets 5 miles per gallon. I mean, that's ridiculous.
I'm like, to use the fee that they were charging me for my first year with the Model S, I would have had to drove the Prius or Civic Hybrid or the Volt even over 300,000 miles a year to make it up. Like,
exactly.
What?
Right. Yes, we use the roads. The roads need to be paid for. I have no problem with that. But they are completely unreasonable in the amount that they're trying to tax EVs. And it's really a hidden way to try to suppress EVs. And they're saying in the name of fairness when it's really in the name of I don't like that politically. And the atmosphere doesn't have a left-leaning or right-leaning political bent. It just is the air we all breathe. So it's so ridiculous.
Yeah.
And that voice, of course, is Mr. Patrick Connor joining us from the West Coast. How are you today,
Hello. Sir? I am good. Hello, Tesla family, Tesla Nation. This is a great time of the week for me. I love hanging out with you guys. And we're, like Mark said, just a couple weeks into the new year, and there's already big Tesla news. Like they never sleep over there at Tesla.
Right. My favorite is we have 3 shows a week, and then I have my show on Sunday. Like they could be a breaking episode like right after I close. I'm like, I'm not getting that. We'll catch it on Wednesday.
Right. Yes. I'm still working on my what to expect from Tesla in 2025. And one of the things I'd already written is going to be a story today. And I'm like, I didn't get to publish it yet. No. It would have looked,
Our only saving grace with this show is just after they've gone to sleep. So the only thing they can get us with is software updates.
Exactly. I spent my time instead publishing my 2025 production estimate article. And so I sent Mark the number.
Good.
So that's definitely something we should cover today, Mark, is everybody get your final guesses in. And if you're seeing this a little bit later, you can tweet it directly to Mark. He's got his handle over there, up there. Yep. And as long as you get it in before Tesla's earning call, it'll be official. I think that's the 29th of January.
Okay, yes.
Yeah, so you've got until the 29th of this month. And if it's a little late, we'll still probably take it. But say, this one was in late.
Right.
So it'll have an asterisk by it if you win.
And you don't want that. So get your vote in early.
That's right.
The last time we're going to talk about it live until we we compare each earnings call to see if we're on track and who's winning.
Right.
That's where we are.
Mm-hmm.
Very good. Well, big news this week, which Patrick missed out on. Asterisk beside his article next.
That's true. Yeah.
is that, of course, the Juniper has been announced in China. And we've been seeing, of course, leaked images of the vehicle, partially covered, not covered. And at the beginning of the week, actually the end of last week, the car was introduced and put on Tesla's website for sale. And
that's what also pushed me over the edge, because I was so excited about the car. My rate went up, and they didn't like that either.
So they have they've got the car now available on the website, and of course, it's not just in China. It's also for other countries that are serviced by Gigafactory Shanghai
and Taiwan, which is not.
Right.
Interesting.
Well, that's going to be another story.
Okay.
But what we've got here now is that the new version of the Model Y gave us a few surprises, a few new things, a few maybe an old thing, but the car has shown up on the website with some stats. It looks like it's mildly more efficient by just a few miles per charge, and the body work is a little bit different. We've got a raised plastic piece in the bumper. License plate has come down. The trunk is in a little bit of a different configuration. And of course, if you look along the side, the body lines are very similar, just a little bit different, a little bit unique.
That one right there surprised me because all the skin is new, but they didn't bother to cover the doors, and they were so similar to what's there now that nobody noticed.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry.
And they've added, of course, some new wheels. The 19-inch version has gone to the silver wheels again. Very close to the offering that came out with the initial Model 3 when it had the sport wheels. Just very similar to that. And as you sweep around to the front, we've got now a light bar similar to the Cybercab. We've got a back light bar that goes across the trunk. Little bit different, not as more of a glow bar, I would say. It's not as piercing as, of course, the LEDs on the front. It's a little bit it's thicker. It glows a little bit. Casey, if you've got a couple images, you can.
I was going to the Tesla website in Australia to check it out, to put it on the screen.
And it's got also the apparently with the license plate moved down, the trunk is going to be a little bit more resilient to rear ends hits. It's going to give you a little bit of a different crumple zone, so it's possible that that's going to avoid the replacement of the rear hatch if you're in a minor fender bender from the back. So they've tried to make that as possible helpful when it comes to an accident, so that not all the parts have to be replaced. And of course, again, up on the front, you'll notice there's that little I guess it would be an air pass-through near the front tire. That is reminiscent of the original Model 3 as well, where you've got that pass-through channel for air. You've got the camera has appeared on the front. And again, the on again, off again with the front camera, because we saw back with the Model 3 refresh that they were putting a camera up there, and then the camera disappeared. It's almost like they were thinking they were going to do it and then decided to pull the plug at the last moment before it went into production. There's a good shot of that light bar. Little thicker, kind of glows. Obviously, I haven't seen it in person, but it does look a little bit different.
My understanding is that the LEDs are actually shooting at the car, and then what you're seeing is that reflection instead of directly emitted light.
Correct.
Which gives you a much better view.
And this is the parked view. When you I guess it's also the running lights too. But when it actually goes to nighttime mode to brake, you'll have a gap here and here because it's also your high mount stoplight as well. Center high mount stoplight, the Chimsel.
That's interesting that the high mount stoplight is in the bar.
Yeah, that might explain the weird light assembly thing we saw on that one spy shot. Maybe I need to make this.
Well, yeah, so they have to have a light that's not on the door, so that if you have it open, vehicles behind you still see that you have brake lights. And
yeah, so it would have to be down here in the black.
Speaking where you got the most now, where you see the badge, there is a new badge that's being released for the China release. It's the launch edition.
Right.
So they've got a new badge and logo that appears on the back of the launch edition cars.
Very cool.
Yep, and, as you saw, the power up and down seats, not just
that's right.
Down.
That's right. They've added power up now to those back seats, and what's old again is new again, as the turning stock has reappeared in this version of the car.
Yeah, this video they're showing a left-hand drive, even though the car is in a right-hand drive market for Australia.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the stock, Mark, we've talked about the stock on this show quite a bit. And when I bought my Y in 2023, one of the main reasons I got it then was we didn't know when Juniper was going to come out. Right. And with Highland and other refreshes, they'd removed the stocks.
Oh, they're there on the bottom.
For my they did. You could see the rear lights. So, and for my wife, the stocks was it was a requirement to have the turn signal stock. And so this one, I think they did the right thing. They you no longer have the gear selection stock, but the gear selection is not something you do very often. You don't do it generally, while you're driving on the road. You're not changing in gears. You don't have to shift 1 through 5 or whatever. And sure, occasionally go into reverse for something, but you're stopped when you do that. And so it's not that big of a deal to look at some spot. And they were smart in that the buttons on the wheel were previously the left and right turn signal indicator buttons are now programmable. So you can do other stuff with them. And you can set them to whatever you want, seat warmer, volume, or radio, or whatever. Yeah, maybe you could still use them that way if that's what you want. Yeah. So the stock is just very intuitive, and until we get to a point where you have FSD at a better level, then I think you can remove the stocks. But we're not quite there yet. People need transition time. A lot of people really like driving themselves. And so, leave the stocks. And because this is such a high volume vehicle, it has to appeal to a large market. And removing it was going to hurt their sales. So I think this was smart to keep it.
Yeah. So when Mark was mentioning the front camera, before we'd only ever seen pictures of it on the SX and 3, but now not only did we see the pictures, but it's on the website. They take it off now. It's going to be a mess.
Right. But this hasn't come to the US yet, right? So maybe in North America, they do take it away.
Yeah.
But I doubt they will. We've seen from the white hat hackers that Hardware 4 has the capability. This is another thing. When I bought my Y, I was really hoping that there would be an upgrade for it to have that front camera later. I doubt I'll ever get that because that's just not how Tesla works. New stuff goes in the new vehicles and they keep marching forward. They don't tend to look back, as Casey has groaned about being a legacy vehicle many times.
They used to, and then they stopped.
Right. Yes. Like, if it's software, you can often get it, but if it's hardware, there's just no. Maybe it's wired for it, maybe it's not, and if it's not, it's burdensomely expensive. Just buy a new one.
Yeah.
Derek's got an interesting point. Will Tesla ever return the turning stock to the Model 3? ? And I think that's a good point. That may come back, just based on the volume, being able to share a part. That might make it back, because obviously Tesla got enough feedback from current or coming clients that they decided we have to put the turn signal back in the Model Y. It just has to be done because we could be in trouble if we don't. So
look at all the company and driving school orders they lost because of it.
Yep.
Yeah.
So there is that thing that you have stepped a little bit too far. You went out in front of the trend, and in this case, they kind of got their fingers burned on this and had to go back because obviously too many people voiced their opinion about losing that turning signal, and it'd be interesting to see if does the 3 pick up that signal maybe partway into 2025 when the next time that they're ordering parts or have the ability to do a software update, does it come back? That would be interesting to see.
Yeah, and there are aftermarket stocks that you can put on.
Yep.
So that's one option if you have one today and you really wanted to stock.
Also, Tesla stocks with aftermarket interpreters. Well, so if you wanted it to look natural, you could do that.
And in fact, I think that's an industry. I don't think that's a specific Tesla design stock. I think BMW's used this similar stock.
Oh, even on the new ones, okay. Because on mine it's Mercedes parts.
Oh, Mercedes. Okay, yeah. So I knew it wasn't a Tesla specific one. Yeah. So that means they are out there. They are available. It's a standard industry part, and so you can have it still look right.
Because they changed significantly between my X had the clicky, and then the 3 has this mushy thing. Yeah.
Another new bit of information is that it came with a new color. We can now have Glacier Blue, which of course is a lighter blue than the current blue. Probably a little bit more metallic-y based as well. But again, going to have to see it in person to, you look at the stock photos and it's like, okay, that certainly looks nice, but I'd like to see it in different light conditions. I'd like to see it in sunlight before, I would think about ordering that color. Gotta be able to see it with your own eyes to really appreciate what this new color looks like.
Yeah. So Derek was asking if it was 1 inch longer, and I don't think it is. It lost.
That is what I heard reported on some other show. I didn't get it official from Tesla, but I have heard that same comment that there is more cargo room, and some of that comes from it being stretched 1 inch.
Interesting. 1 inch.
Maybe as they reconfigured it, they did slide the rear seat back just a tad, and but they also made it a little bit longer, the rear seat bottom, and then the front has definitely got a different configuration. Like it's deeper and squarer now, as you saw in the video. They reiterated their comment of 70 pieces into one. So I'm not sure if they are just rehashing, like for the people who bought the first Model Y, that hey, now it's got gigacasting, or if they went from gigacast to the structural pack, because and I don't see a hole in the bottom of the car either, so I don't think it's a structural pack that they're describing. You can make structural with the LFP or the 2170s, but we've only seen it done with the 4680s.
Right.
Another piece of information is that Shanghai has now started to produce these. They are rolling off the line, but the order periods are into March.
Yes.
So it looks like they're going to not be delivering them immediately. There's maybe there's some testing or things that have to be done with the vehicles as they roll off the line for production. But you're not getting them immediately, and of course, there is some existing inventory of the present Model Ys out there, and in the market where Shanghai serves, there is a lot of discounting going on. So they're obviously trying to get rid of the older version of the car before the new ones start to roll out. So if you're in the market, you might be it might behoove you to look and see if it makes any sense financially, maybe to get the old one over the new one.
Right. They're definitely going to have some discount on the old one. And I want to congratulate Casey. So when we were talking about sales from last year, we saw that sales were significantly higher than their production for Q4. And you said, that might mean that they're flushing the channel of the existing Model Ys, so that means Juniper's coming in Q1, and boom, you nailed it. So yeah, way to read the tea leaves there.
The one thing that confused me though is they after the break they started back up again in the American factories with the outgoing model, but I'm not sure at what rate. We'd have to get with Brian and ask him to listen to the ground pounding and see. But Shanghai.
Another piece of information that is production, I guess, centered is that we got a quick note, I think it was Sunday, that there was a leak that there may be the new Model Y may be produced in Giga Berlin in a short period of time. In fact, they were saying Monday. And what happened is, indeed, it was produced at Giga Berlin on Monday, and a few of them rolled off the line there. Yeah. So this is something that I wasn't expecting. Obviously, we talked about on this show about how you can't have a long period of lag between one factory getting it and then the other two getting it, or the other three getting it, because you're going to have a lot of people that are going to hold off because they would rather have the new thing as opposed to getting the old car. So there is going to be that Osborne effect that people know that something's coming, and of course this is their most selling car of all time, and to turn that faucet off on sales could be a serious financial mistake. So you want to have the period shortened up. But I did not expect that Berlin would produce a car just a few days later after Shanghai had.
I was thinking like a week or 3 weeks.
Exactly.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, you think you'd want to have one factory work out all the bugs and get the production smooth, and then have that team go and help each other factory get going. But that's not how they're doing it. And I think it's exactly for the reason that you said, Mark. They need to do that transition as quickly as possible. The news is out. People know about it. This is the vehicle that a lot of them are going to want. If it's more efficient, it has more features. The power seats, the power frunk. I might use the front frunk more if I knew it was powered. And then the power seats. I had a Model X 6-seater from 2016 to 2023. And it was probably a year after I had it or so. I was trying to pull the back seats up, and I leaned in to do that. And I had my phone in my front pocket. And as I pull back on the seat, crunch, there went my phone.
Oh.
So if I had, and that was the Model X, their high-end luxury one. If it had the this feature, I wouldn't have lost a phone that day. I would have just pushed a button, and the seats would have popped up.
Yep.
I don't think that the front trunk is powered on this one.
I thought that was one of the new features.
It is. Well, I heard it is. I haven't seen it happen. But
all of these powering things is something that if you're thinking about a robotaxi future, you can't have someone, pull their stuff out of the frunk and then with their arms full, they can't close it and they walk away and then the car is just stuck there. Right. It has to be able to reset itself. It has to be able to close the doors. It has to be able to close the frunk. It has to be able to close the back, set the seats back up if someone, wants to sit there. And especially if you have someone calling a robotaxi who is special needs or disabled, then they might not be able to pop the seats up themselves physically. So instead, you just want to be able to have them get in and go and not have to reconfigure the vehicle.
Maybe it's a regional market situation. Like I found out the other day that the knee airbag actually isn't worldwide. It's only North America and a couple other places. Yeah.
And Lee Moon has a point. That's right. There is no black color. They took black away.
Unless you're in Taiwan, and a couple other places. But if you're in Taiwan, you can only choose black. Whereas the other locations that have black, you could choose black.
So they're just shifting production of the black cars to one country.
Right. If you're in Taiwan, you got a Ford color choice. Any color you want, as long as it's black.
Why would they do that in Taiwan? Is there some?
Well, don't forget Taiwan doesn't get Chinese cars. They get something else.
They get Giga Berlin cars.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You already mentioned. Yeah. So Giga Berlin cars. So
yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Speaking of color, I really do want to see this new blue because I like the Tesla blue that they had. Our X was blue. Our 3 is blue. So I hope this new blue is nice in person. It looks pretty good on the website, but that's hard to tell what it really looks like in person.
Yeah,
it is hard to tell.
Yeah.
Well, at least they're not doing just pure renders anymore. They've got like photorealistic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's fantastic news. We've been waiting for this refresh for some time. We've obviously known it was happening. We knew it was getting close, but now that it's been released in one market and it's being produced in the European market as well. Again, don't know the volumes, not yet. This is early days, but it's good to see that at least Shanghai and Berlin have produced them, and now they can, as Patrick says, they can work on getting the bugs out of the production line and getting it spun up, because obviously, again, the Model Y is their biggest selling car, and they cannot lag behind too long, or it's really going to affect the figures for 2025.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. So we'll keep you abreast as to that power frunk. We'll take a look here and there to see if we can see that information, or if someone is going to demonstrate it, maybe someone early that gets it. But again, we're talking March for deliveries at this point, according to the website.
In China.
In China, correct. Yeah. So,
unless you're Taiwanese.
Who knows when it's coming to the U.S.? We should take a poll.
Oh wait, you get another color now. No, yeah, you get another color. You can get silver or black. Silver or black.
All right. Yeah. At least they have a choice in Taiwan.
Exactly.
Imagine if you ordered on the night of. You're like, I want silver.
So Casey, this next story is in your market about Sweden and superchargers. Did you happen to see this article?
Which one? They had a whole bunch of stuff going on with Sweden this week.
This one was about that Sweden superchargers are still flourishing despite the strike.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So they're putting them in there. They just can't plug them in because of the sympathy strikes. And they've got what is it? They had a couple of lines over the holidays, and folks were getting upset, and so Tesla started putting these bags over them with the yellow jackets that match the IF Metal folks' yellow safety work jackets. And
that's an interesting little jab.
Yeah, this site could be connected, but it's not. and
well, you know, it's because some of the charging public just doesn't understand what's going on, and Tesla, obviously, with that type of messaging, is letting the public know, which could apply pressure to politicians or to unions based on they're not getting what they should be getting. And pointing the finger, I think, is great PR for Tesla to indicate that, hey, we've got the thing built. We're just waiting for it to be turned on. And unfortunately, this organization is not doing their job.
Yeah, exactly. And they even opened another one up. Well, finished another one today. I think it was like a 20 or 40 stall, and it's covered in fences. They didn't put the bags on it this time because they didn't take down the safety fences yet. But it's like there's plenty of charging. And one of the Swedes made a comment to me or in the room I was in, and they pointed out that even though they have a universal plug over there and you can use any network, that the folks have the same sort of reliability complaints that we have here in the States.
Mm-hmm.
So they would rather wait 30 minutes in line to know that they can use the supercharger than go to the other one and try it out.
Yes. A reliable network is vital. It's the only way you can really travel with confidence.
Yeah, it's amazing that I see so many articles about the EV movement and where we're at. And over again, like the top concern is reliable charging. Mm-hmm. And I'm thinking, okay, that may be true for 40% of the market, but the 60% of the market that use Teslas, that's not an issue. Not at all.
Mm-hmm.
And it's you know, it's something that is amazing to me that the media doesn't pick up on this at all. They don't understand that there's really two types of charging. One is working extremely well, and yes, the other one is working poorly. Still, even at this point in the game. But that's something that I'm not sure if that message gets through to the public that is not familiar with EVs. They're just seeing unreliable charging in the headlines, and it's like,
Right.
you know what? Unreliable charging for us disappeared a long time ago. So
Yep.
that is not even it's not even a concern. I have friends that have other vehicles outside of Tesla, and they are just waiting. They are chomping at the bit to be able to have access to the Tesla network, which of course another 6 have been announced are coming in early 2025. So it's going to be great for those groups going forward. But that again is, there's 2 charging situations out there, and I'm hoping that that's getting through to the general public that's not EV savvy.
Yeah, and
Yeah, I doubt it is.
It's probably not. It takes something exceptional to cause us issues too. Darren was pointing out, Darren at Drive Tesla Canada was pointing out that you guys had some extreme weather roll through half your country, and well, we all did, but yours shut down some stuff that we wouldn't have expected because you guys are better prepared for it than we are. And 2 routes, 2 major routes were just out, and so some of the superchargers on the alternate routes got more load than they would have normally carried, so they ended up with wait times when they would not have, because there were another 120 stalls in between the 2 sites.
Right.
And it just works out that way sometimes. And as we saw last year with Chicago, it was just a perfect storm of Uber drivers and cold batteries, and then just a handful of equipment failures that just piled up. But that's what it takes to even slow down the Tesla supercharger network versus the complaints we get about some of the other networks.
Right. And Tesla has their mobile units, right? So they can drive a semi out there and supplement any areas that are having massive congestion. And it's cool that they have these, and they're collecting data all the time. They know in real time. In fact, when I stopped at the design center by SpaceX, they had a big reader board there that was publicly accessible, where you could see all the supercharging that was happening around the world in real time. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was. I've seen that. Yeah, very cool.
I did a deep dive into the mobile megapack chargers this weekend, and they went into how they deploy them, how they function, and it was quite impressive. And then shortly after that, they ended up having to deploy it to Los Angeles. They put 2 of them there,
right?
Of the 3 or 4 that we know that they have, to make sure that they could supplement the remaining sites from the fires.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. I've driven through LA supercharging, and they have a ton of spots. I mean, Mark, when did you drive across the continent when you went to California? What year was that?
That was 3 years ago now.
Right, and the network's only grown since then.
Yeah.
And I've gone up and down the West Coast, and again, the network's only grown since then. It's easy.
Yep.
Yeah. I wanted to point out real quick. We talked about how quickly Berlin started up. Shanghai is to have the Chinese New Year. They're going to shut down for like an extra week and a half, maybe 2, to retool the lines for the Model Y in Giga Shanghai while they already would have been offline. So it looked like they had like 1 line doing pilot production, learning the what they wanted to get out of there, and then put those changes in when they installed Berlin. But now it's time to put the changes that they recommended back into the shop that recommended them in the first place, and then do all the other lines while they're there.
Yeah.
Oh, that makes sense with the 70-in-1 comment. You said they reiterated it, but if this is a new casting that's 1 inch longer and has some other minor changes, then that's the same thing still applies. This covers the 70 parts that would have been here.
Okay.
And Hockey Day's got wine in the chat room. I don't know how he's going to share it because he's in Sarnia, but be aware. Be aware.
Digital wine, nice.
Next, Patrick's got a story about EV sales numbers and where we're heading.
That is right. So 2024 was a record year. So this comes to us from Tesla North. Sales of electric vehicles in the U.S. reached a new high in 2024 with 1.3 million EVs sold throughout the year, increasing 7.3% compared to 2023. So I don't know if you guys remember ancient history when Obama was in office and predicted 1 million EVs on the road, and there was so much EV hate back then. They were saying, "Oh, that's never going to happen." Well, not only did it happened just in 1 year more than that. So things have changed. EVs are here to stay. They're getting more and more market share. EVs accounted for 8.1% of all new car sales, up from 7.8% the previous year. And the previous year had a big spike. So any growth on top of that is great. The fourth quarter alone, there were 365,824 EVs sold, marking a 15% increase year over year. So that's what we want to see. EVs getting more of the market every year, displacing more of the gas-burning, smog-causing deathmobiles. So who got the top spot? The Model Y was number one. The 3 and the Y together sold a combined 146,000 in the US. So yeah, this is awesome. Honda has a new Prologue EV that launched last year in 2024. They sold over 33,000 of them in their first year. That's pretty good.
And that's more than the car is based on, the Chevy Blazer.
Oh,
yeah, it's the Honda Blazer. That's what it is.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's cool. If the EV is outselling the gas version, that's
no, the EV is outselling the people who build its EV.
Okay. Yeah.
Like the Suzuki Rodeo and the Honda Passport. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. Also on the list, Ford Mustang Mach-E. That was the best-selling non-Tesla, followed by the Hyundai Ioniq 5. And I have to mention the Tesla Cybertruck. It's number 5 on the list, and it's the best-selling EV truck. It outsold the Ford Lightning and the Rivian R1T, the GM Hummer, and any other EV truck, Silverado EV that you can think of. The Cybertruck, for a vehicle that they said first would never be made, and they would nobody would ever want to buy one. It's outselling every other EV truck. There you go. That's the quick rundown.
That is encouraging news. Now we do know that that we're running into a new administration in about a week, and there could be some changes coming. But as Patrick has mentioned, it is good to know that we had a good bump in sales over 2024, and hopefully we'll be able to keep up that momentum, rolling it further into 2025. But with every little bit of market share gain, going from a 7.7% up to a 8.1%, you're just indoctrinating more and more people. You're bringing more under the tent, and you've got more and more people every year that goes by that they're talking about the vehicles. And as we've seen, once you go EV, not many people leave that tent. They continue to buy EVs. So we're going to be able to start really propelling this downhill and bringing on more and more people, going faster and faster. The snowball analogy, it started out small at the top of the hill, but as we get a quarter of the way down the hill, it's quite large, and about halfway down the hill, it is unstoppable.
Absolutely.
I like to see a snowball that works that way in real life.
You don't want to be below that snowball.
That's an avalanche. But you mentioned regime changes up in your neck of the woods. You're about to have one, and something that we were concerned with happening here has happened there. They've paused the Canadian IZEV because they are out of money.
That's
right. It doesn't look like it's going to be renewed at all, or even refunded. So,
yeah, we're at a point now where the program was so successful, it brought over 700,000 EVs into Canada, into owners' hands. And that program has now run out of money. They made an announcement about 5 days ago that they were going to be pausing it coming up. Well, that sparked so many purchases in that day and a half, 2 days, they ran out of money immediately.
The next day.
Because people understood that, oh my gosh, I've been sitting on the fence too long. I have to pull the trigger now, or I'm going to lose the $5,000 incentive that's out there. And boy, did they go and order vehicles and pick them up as quickly as possible.
Yeah. Tesla seemed to have got wind of it because they raised their prices by $1,000 the night before.
That's right. Yeah.
And that made them ineligible. And then today Chevy has dropped all their prices by 5,000 to make up for it, trying to steal back
Oh,
some of the market
nice.
share.
Yep.
So we're only 2 weeks into the year and they're out of funding already?
Well, this has been going on for the past 5 years. So
okay, and it was
this
all
is-
initially
this-
funded.
This
It's not
was
funded annually.
This was officially going to end halfway through 2025. It's just that they ran out of money early.
Okay.
And then
But
the
again,
new people-
it's the silver lining here is it has been wildly successful. Again, bringing in 700,000 new vehicles into Canadian owner hands and being able to knock that price down and help those families out.
That's incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, indeed. So we shall see as time goes on what happens in Canada too. So hopefully we'll be able to get a soft landing and continue the sales of EVs in both countries. Next, this is kind of ties into the story that we had done previously. Some superchargers are going to be getting some new clients, Casey. And do you know the list, or should I bring up the list?
Go ahead, bring up the list, please.
Okay, so we've got new vehicles that are being announced as coming soon.
The members of the Supercharging Coalition.
The next club.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
The next group.
A whole bunch of them show up as coming soon. Kia was supposed to go live today, but they didn't. And
right.
They have the software, so a couple of folks have plugged in, and it just works. So what's unclear right now is if the Kia situation is because their adapter is a lower ampacity than everybody else's, because they have 800-volt cars, so they don't need the full 400 amps. So they did like 350 or 250 even, and every other car is a 400 amp converter. So I don't know. Maybe they're just making sure their converter doesn't accidentally get used on a different car. And so they're going to just put the same one as everybody else, or if they found some edge cases in the software that they wanted to fix before they officially unveiled it. One of them is coming live in June with the adapters, but they got the go ahead for March, and I'm trying to remember which one it is. It wasn't Nissan. It was
that Mercedes?
Mercedes. No. Maybe it might have been Mercedes, because they weren't giving away. Mercedes is not giving away free adapters. If you can afford a Mercedes and any options, you can afford an adapter.
Yep, that's funny.
Yeah.
So the coming soon, the coming soon list is what? BMW,
yes,
Genesis, Hyundai, Kia, Lucid, Mercedes-Benz, and
except
Jaguar.
for the Lucid Gravity, it's already NACS native.
That's right. Yeah, the Gravity is already the first in the market that has the native port for NACS.
Yeah.
I wonder at what point Tesla will stop doing the what do they call their adapter that is built in? Magic Dock?
They've already slated it for stoppage. Max Ziegler, head of supercharging for North America, has pointed out that Giga Berlin makes all the superchargers, and he pointed out how much money they save on the Type 2 chargers because they don't need adapters. That they're gonna, now that NACS is officially recognized by SAE and the government, and they're gonna go ahead and stop including the Magic Dock on most, if not all, of the chargers to save, because the best part is no part. And if they charge $250 for the adapter, it's $250 minus 30%, because that's their usual markup, 30 to 35%. That's $175 per stall. And we talked about how they opened up what was it?
18,000.
But how many was it a day? It was ridiculous, like hundreds of stalls per day.
Yeah.
So that adds up quick. And
yeah, it does. Yeah, and it's also a little confusing if you aren't familiar with it, and depending if you happen to hold the button too long when you pull it out, now it's attached, and if you want it, great, but if you didn't, now how do you get it off? You don't know. So if they can, the best part's no part, keep it simple, and if you need an adapter, get an adapter.
Yep. I'm sure they might do an adapter on a chain thing for those handful that don't have them, like we saw with the Chatamo.
Oh, I doubt it. Those would be, if they want an adapter, they're going to do Magic Dock. That's their solution for that because it locks it in place. It can't be stolen.
And then they could lock you down to the number of sites that they want to deal with you at because only so many of them are equipped with Magic Dock.
Exactly.
Currently, every V4 dispenser's got it, but almost none of the ones in North America are unlocked for it, if any.
And for those keeping score, the already supported vehicles out there are Ford, Rivian, GM, Volvo, Polestar, and Nissan. Those ones are already on the Tesla network. The 6 new ones are being added to it. So,
it was Volkswagen. So Volkswagen gets it in March, but they don't get the adapters until June.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so they'll be able to use the small amount that already have the Magic Dock.
Well, anybody can use the Magic Dock if it's enabled, but they'll be able to use if they have 2 cars or if they buy somebody else's adapter or borrow it. They can
Right.
Yeah, be careful. Don't use some third-party, unapproved, non-UL adapter. You could regret that.
or the Kia Hyundai Genesis adapter on your 400-volt car.
Right.
Yeah.
Be smart.
So that beep, of course, is letting us know that we're running long. No, I think we could probably talk for hours on this particular show about the new car, about the launch edition that has appeared. But I think we'll get some more details over the next few weeks.
Absolutely.
As Tesla starts to put some of this extra information into the market. And as I said, it still marches a little bit time away. I'm just hoping that they can get things spun up quickly over at Fremont or at Texas to start producing some prototypes as quickly as they did in Berlin. So it will be interesting to see if they can keep up that type of speed, because I know for a fact there are many people that are now just going to sit on the sidelines until the new vehicles available in their market.
Yeah.
So what are your guys' predictions on when Austin and Fremont and which one first get to do this?
Austin first, and I'm going to say first half, so June.
By the first half for sure. Yeah, I don't think we'll even get to the end of Q1, like if not too far, but beyond it that we'll be waiting on it. So the thing with Austin though, they have it set up to do both structural and regular bodies, right?
Yeah,
I think so.
Okay, so that won't stop them. But they don't make the structural pack at the moment because all of those batteries are going into the
Cybertrucks.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So they won't use any of those cells. But
I think, again, with batteries, Tesla has always been traditionally able to swap back and forth based on what battery capacity they had in the different forms, and I don't see that changing. They're going to play all those battery fields as well as they can just to push out those cars, and especially because those cars will also qualify for the U.S. credit. Federal credit because of the batteries are made locally. So there's going to be, they have extra incentive to make sure that all the battery packs are available, as many as they can get their hands on.
Yeah. So at some point, when do we think we'll see the structural pack include the LFPs and maybe the 2170s? You have to re-equip machines for it, but it would allow them to speed up their assembly because
once their capacity for those batteries starts to increase, that's when you can expect a modification to something like that. But it has to be a significant amount of production of those battery cells in order for them to, either add or modify an existing line.
Yeah,
right. But this was their chance, right? With Juniper, they could have said all of them are going to be structural packs because it does speed up assembly. And that is one of the things they try to do with each iteration.
Yeah, and then we're gonna put 2170s. We're gonna put LFPs in them. Speaking of LFPs, as of right now, on Sunday on the 19th, on the 19th, TikTok gets kicked out. Maybe DJI. There is word that cattle may also be excluded from here as well.
Oh,
that is just rumor. But,
rumor.
It's
Okay.
the same logic and situation, and it's something to keep an eye on. Not that we're getting too many of the Chinese batteries right now, but that makes them less flexible if they're not able to import the LFP packs, because they last for a good long while.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the motto of this show: is if you see something you like, don't hesitate, because things change. And just like Mark, you were talking about the incentives in Canada, things changed real fast there. And Casey, yeah, just things could change with the battery packs. If you want an LFP, they might become rare in the second half of this year if there are issues importing them from China.
Yeah.
And then the same thing with the running out of money. I don't think that's going to happen here, but that is a certain possibility that could be orchestrated here. But as far as the IRS is concerned, we are good through the end of the year.
Right, but yeah, saying we've ran out of funding might be the hack to close the program. Even though, at least the way the program used to be, it was a non-refundable, non-rollover refund. So it was really just less money that you owed. It wasn't that they had to fund it. Right. So we'll see what happens. I think we're good, but again, things change with the wind, so don't count on it.
Exactly. Well, with that, I think we will wrap. Casey, any shout outs for the folks out there?
Yeah, so on Friday, come back here and see us at the Tesla Life Express Edition 1. And then on Sunday, catch me over at youtube.com/CaseyGreen, where we will have my Just Chatting show, where it's a little more general, not just on the Teslas. And then come back here on Monday for the Tesla Life Express Edition 2. And then catch us live again on Wednesday right here, same time, same place. So the Expresses are at 7 p.m. Eastern, and my show's at 1:10-ish p.m. Eastern on Sundays.
Very good. Give us a thumbs up out there if you haven't already. Patrick, any shout-outs for you?
Yeah, please drop your estimate for Tesla's production in the show notes, and Mark will get it in his spreadsheet, and a year from now, we'll be looking at those and see who got it right. The big wild card for 2025 is Project Redwood. When is that going to come online? How much is it going to cost? What are the volumes going to be? How fast will the ramp be? Because if Redwood goes well, it could launch them to a whole new level of production. And so they could, if that goes well, it's easily over 2 million this year. If it's delayed and not, who knows, right? So there's a lot of factors to consider, and it is a guess. So just take a guess. Who cares? It's fun.
Yep.
And if you want to know how I got to my guess, you can check it out on carswithcores.net. The article that's up there right now is I went through and looked at a bunch of trending methods and what they've done in the past, and how I came to my number that I sent Mark yesterday. So check it out. As always, I'm with the Oregon Electric Vehicle Association. You can find us at OEVA, and I blog occasionally at carswithcores.net about my future free from fossil fuels. Thank you.
Bingo. Thanks, everyone, for joining us, and we'll get together next time and find out what's happening in the Tesla life.
Stay positive, test negative.